Welcome aboard the Insight Express. I'm your conductor, Insight Mike, and I was asked a question by my partner the other day. If you had a message to give to everyone tomorrow, what would it be? That tomorrow was a couple of weeks ago, actually. But what I did was I went into myself and I was trying to search for something. And I looked around and finally I found it. It's taped up by my front door so I can see it when I walk out of my bedroom, and I can see it whenever I'm about to go outside, and it's a reminder of the very same thing that I told myself back in 2020 that sent me on this journey to what I do, to actually coalescing everything that I have done for my life. Slow down, stretch out, feel through. Now, it breaks down into so much more than that, and it is just as simple as that. Simple does not mean easy. Simple does not mean unchallenging. And simple doesn't mean that it does not lead to a whole fuck of a lot more. It's a response alongside insight. Insight is my response to how excited I've been. So slow down, stretch out, feel through is all about addressing the culture and conditions that I grew up in this society that I live in the United States. Slow down. It's all about addressing the fast, quick, and instant that we've been moving toward, and in the midst of, we slow down our attention, we slow down our perception, because the fast, quick, and instant doesn't even give us time to notice any feedback with the context of our particular type of attention or perception. How do we slow down? Slow down with the breath. Slowing breath down, bringing your attention and your perception to your breath, and then allowing everything else to be in relationship to that breath. Slowing down is about slowing down time, not like you see in the movies, slowing down our own time. You felt when you've felt rushed inside versus anything that's happening outside. You could have a whole lot of fast things happening outside, but if your pacing is slower inside, that's your time. And that's the time that you slow down with your breath. Stretch out. Stretch out is a response to how tight and crowded and dense we are. All of our matters are. We stretch out our response. We stretch out the stimulus of our activity. It's all about bringing our awareness to our bodies and how tight and crowded and dense that we find ourselves, in the contraction that we feel, so that we can suppress a whole lot of things that inform us of the conditions and the ecosystems and the cultures that we are in. We use our bodies to stretch out our bodies. We stretch out the space between stimulus and response. Stretching out is about making space. Now, again, it may not be creating space in the world we see around us, but it's our own space, the space that we have internally, the space that process lives within, that feelings live within, that choice lives within, that our access lives within. So stretching out with our bodies gives us more space for all of the resourcing in our bodies: blood, air, nutrients, etc., to move. To have a tight, crowded, and dense body means that all of our throughways can get kinked and crushed. So we stretch those out and then feel through. Feel through is in a response to how numb and distant and absent we find ourselves. We feel through our condition. We feel through our capacity. We feel through our emotions. Or do we? We don't, which is why it's in response to. Feel through the space that you create in your body after you've slowed down enough to stretch yourself out in a way that does not harm you. And then feel through what's happening in the dynamic of that space. We feel through using our heartbeat. We pay attention to the heartbeat the same way that we paid attention to our breath earlier. The reason why we pay attention to the breath and the heartbeat is that they're present tense processes happening in our bodies, which is the convergence of the whole ecosystem of who we are. We get into that heartbeat and we feel through and get the sense of the space that we created, the space that we're in, and the space that we are. Again, we may not engage or feel through and sense the space around us or the people around us. We sense our own translation of, reception of, processing of, and expression of that sense through that heartbeat. That heartbeat is one of three minds that we have. And so paying attention to this heartbeat will give us access to those other minds. So slow down, stretch out, feel through. And when you collect those together, a question comes to mind. In the work that I do, I get really curious and ask questions. I can remember a time where I was not curious. I remember a time when I was skipping the surface. I was conditioned to, I learned to, I practiced to, I habituated to, but I reawakened my curiosity. Well, I won't say that. I say I aligned with my curiosity because it was already always there. It drove me in so much of what I did. But the question that shows up for slow down, stretch out, and feel through. Why would we do that? Well, what's happening in there? Do you know what's happening in you? Or do you just get news reports from your brain, from your mental space? The translations that we get mentally are all dependent on the conditioning that we've gotten externally. So, what's happening there? Do you know for real, for real? And if you don't, slow down, stretch out, feel through. All right, that's what I got for y'all. Until next time, take care of yourself.